Hi, Erica Brown here with our Leadership Book Corner. And today's book is by Stephen M. R. Covey. There's a whole bunch of Coveys out there thinking about leadership. This one is called The Speed of Trust, the one thing that changes everything. A lot of times people discuss why leaders work from a position of scarcity. There's not an abundance mentality. There's a sense that no one else can do it as well as I can do it. We have another word for that. We call it micromanaging. Micromanaging is also being used in leadership literature to think about issues like diminishment behavior, where I can't compliment you, can't grow you, can't maximize your talents because in some way threatening to me. Micromanagement and resolving micromanaging issues really comes from wanting too much control because you don't trust another person. So we really want to dig deep into the roots of micromanagement and control and think about where your levels of trust are. And one of the questions I like to ask leaders is, do you trust first and you're proven wrong or right? Or does it take you a long time to build up a relationship of trust with someone because you're suspicious first and only trust later? And what would actually be a more effective leadership behavior? And I'll let you be the judge of that and think about in your own life, do you suspect first or do you trust first? And what are the consequences of each of them? But the consequences in leadership can be great because when people feel that they're not trusted, they feel undermined, they don't feel as creative, they don't take risks in the same way, they don't feel they're autonomous in their decision making, and sometimes they shut down altogether. So actually, one of the definitions that I appreciate that Covey uses, it says, over time, he has come to this simple definition of leadership. Quote, leadership is getting results in a way that inspires trust. You can get results as a leader that don't inspire trust, and those results generally will tend to be short-term. If you want to create a leadership team, lay or professional, you need to build trust over time. You need to work from a position of abundance. You need to be a multiplier, which means using people at their maximal and not being threatened, giving credit and not giving blame. Those kind of behaviors are hard for people. Often I joke that leaders will say, I'm not a controlling person. But in actual fact, if you did an analysis, a personality analysis of almost every great leader, we're all control freaks. We try to control conditions, we want to control outcomes, we want to control decision making, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that we have a strong sense of guiding direction that moves us. And yet, that same guiding direction in its most potent state can be immensely deleterious for leadership. And I wanted to focus on something that this author says about trust. Trust is a function of two things, character and competence. Character includes your integrity, your motive, your intent with people. Competence includes your capabilities, your skills, your results, your track record, and both are vital. So if I want to be a person of trust, it's not only being a person who has good values and values integrity and I'm honest with the people with whom I work. It also means that I'm competent at what I do, that I show up on time, that I keep my promises and I keep my word. In fact, one of the things that most taxes what he calls a trust account between people is the failure to keep up with our commitments. What happens when we do this time after time? What's the net result of repeated failure to make and keep commitments to ourselves? It hacks away at our self-confidence. Not only do we lose trust in our ability to make and keep commitments, we fail to project the personal strength of character that inspires trust. We may try to borrow strength from position or association, but it's not real. It's not ours. And people know it. People know when you're not trustworthy. People know when you say, oh, next time I really mean it. I'm really not going to be late. I'm really going to be here when you need me. I'm really going to be at that meeting. And then you don't show up, and it taxes the trust account. And one thing that's fascinating about the trust account, according to Covey, is that withdrawal and deposits aren't equal. I might not trust you, and that'll be a great withdrawal from you. And even if I put something into your bank account so that you're not in overdraft all the time, I may not do enough of it to develop real trust. One of the benefits of of Covey's book is that he says there's a myth that once there's an act of trust that's been broken, it can never be rebuilt. I encourage you to look at this book because he says the speed of trust has to do with rebuilding trust that's already been broken. You can do it. You've got to work hard to do it. So instead of having a conversation about control or micromanagement, think instead about an important conversation on trust. Think of the people who trust you and what you've done to fatten your trust account. And think of people who would benefit from more trust from you. And think about what you need to put into that account and whether you've been withdrawing more than you've been depositing. Because we all want to create in leadership, a robust trust account so that when we do have to withdraw every once in a while, we have enough in the bank to carry us.